All right, welcome back to another exciting episode of Hardheaded as Chet opens his bag of whatever he's got today.
I'm a huge supporter of the WNBA, and when I saw that they had sponsored these new ruffles,
pretty sure that was a joke, folks.
Has he got that chick that's in prison for Russia?
It's not. Ruffles Ridge twists. I'm like, I got to buy that. Whatever they do here. Why don't you take a? I'm sorry, audience, for getting something else that's crunchy. I know Troy drove us crazy on the last episode.
So yeah, if you've got misophonia, skip forward about 30 seconds
and go.
Nope.
I like those.
That's not that bad.
Is that barbecue?
Barbecue flavor.
Smoky barbecue flavor.
I don't get the smoke.
I got a little of the smoke.
Yeah.
It tastes like a, those, what were
Fritos
those?
flavor twists.
Yes.
These are softer. They're not as hard on your teeth.
Right. They're a lot airier. There's more air in these than with those Fritos twists.
Totally not made from potatoes. This is probably some kind of plastic that we're eating.
Probably.
Puffed up corn.
Give you a mean poop later.
And just so you know, the Aja Wilson, the power forward for the Las Vegas Aces, says have the power to empower. With
all right.
Ruffles Ridge twists.
Thank you, WNBA and Ruffles.
Ruffles used to have ridges. Now they're just twisty.
Anyway, today on this episode of wherever this is going,
That's not the name of our podcast. Oh, wherever this is going.
We've got our top 3 tools every household should have, and then Chet's going to bring us what's on his mind, which hopefully is not Ruffles and WNBA, and then Troy's going to bring us a good word.
All right. What's on my mind? Boys, you can feel it in the air. When you wake up, Matt, I know you probably don't wake up early enough to feel the cool air.
Seasons are changing.
But Troy, when you get up and it's 50 degrees outside and you walk outside, what do you think?
I should probably go kill some ducks today.
And you're like, fall is here. And I want to get outside.
Football's going to be on later this afternoon.
So
that's a Saturday, by the way.
Yeah. That's the only time you get up early?
When I'm going duck hunting.
Oh, okay. I started wondering why I had that feeling, and I'm like, man, I miss this. Like, just like, it wasn't like, I want to go hunting. It's like, I really miss getting out in the woods. And then I asked myself, why? So I ask you that same question.
You don't miss it all year round, or?
Well, it's, there's seasons to hunt.
Yep.
And sometimes when I'm thinking about it, it's like, I like to hunt. But, when you feel that it's just right around the corner, the temperature, then I have a longing to get out there.
It's called the rut.
What? For deer.
People have it too.
People hunt something other than deer.
I get it, but it's that time of year when everything's doing its thing. I mean, and
so why do you guys like to get out? Like, I know both of you do. Like, what are some of the reasons?
I just enjoy being outside, and it's nice to come off of hot summer.
But you could be outside playing golf.
Yeah,
which I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the summer it's not as enjoyable because it's too hot.
Okay.
It's more enjoyable when the temperatures are cooler. You got a nice cool morning. You're like, oh man, today's a great day for golf, or today's a great day to get up and do some work on the food plots, because it's more enjoyable to be outside. It's not as harsh as the summer, even though I'll get out in the summer and dang near pass out doing it, but I don't almost pass out doing it.
Yeah.
When that temperature changes and you're like, man, I get what you're saying. I just call it the rut,
So I'm digging deep here on myself. Like, why? Because there's other things I could be doing with my time.
I thoroughly enjoy being outside and being able to like enjoy more seasons than I grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like fall for that one reason.
I'd say fall's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm talking like the urge to get out and hunt. Like not just fall in general.
Yeah, that's the rut.
Okay.
I think we've established.
We established that you call wanting to go somewhere the rut.
You don't come home from work, kick open the door, and bugle a little bit, and
no, I don't.
slobbering and throwing feces on yourself. Whatever.
Not quite.
Peeing on your legs.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
Not when I come home from work.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
That's a Saturday thing.
well, one of the reasons I like it so much is being alone. Like there's no other time of the year where I'm alone. Really. Like, I mean, there's everybody, somebody's working and, the wife grabbed one of the kids and went to the store.
So you got a few hours to yourself, but not an extended.
I'm intentional about crawling up in a tree and being unplugged from everything, or being in a duck blind and not like I intentionally went out there to be by myself, or sometimes hunting with folks. That's fine too. But the solitude, I don't get that all year round. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, that probably means it's pretty important to me. Solitude.
I would say, again, like the rut, all the bucks most of the year round are together
And their
in
groups.
bachelor groups, and then the rut comes along and they all go off on their own and they're by themselves. So I don't know if there's something. I don't know.
Yeah, everything's coming back to deer for you right now, huh?
It's deer season.
So I read this article by Gary McGee, not Matt Gee, McGee.
So now we're just changing things. So it's Mackey. I get it.
He's a former Navy intelligence specialist, but currently is a philosopher. And he wrote an article called The Art of Solitude. And then you get to thinking about the art. That means it's practiced. It's not just a gift that people are given. It's their practice. And he uses a quote to start his article with by Blaise Pascal that says, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And I get to thinking about my thought process when I'm alone, dedicated in alone time and not plugged into an electronic device,
Right.
watching TV, football or golf or whatever. That's when you kind of figure out some of the major things you need to be figuring out in life. And that if we don't intentionally create time for that, then we're probably not addressing some of the things that need to be addressed in our lives. I thought that was pretty interesting. And so does Mr. McGee. You have to create room. This is some of the stuff that he covers in the article. You have to create room to deal with yourself. Like, do we ever create space to actually deal with us personally? Or are we just like a pinball in a machine bouncing around or whatever?
It's
bumper?
rare. It's rare. I'll say that.
I know a lot of people that intentionally don't have that alone time with themselves.
Everybody you know does?
No, I'm just saying I know a lot of people that don't, that intentionally avoid because they don't want to deal
With themselves. Yeah, so I'm quoting from him. Simply put, the art of solitude is the vital ability to be alone and to allow for a deep connection with the self. Like, I think a lot of times, when I think about that first cool morning of the year in the fall, that, oh my gosh, it's time. I think some of that glee that I have is tied to, I know that in the next few months, I'm going to be able to find some time to deal with myself. And not that I want to run away from everybody else, but I think I'm better after I've done that, right? I could connect with others better.
You've had time to work some stuff out.
Yeah.
You're more relaxed. That time to decompress. Like you said, you've thought through some things.
Yeah.
And you're able to take on more and handle more better because you're a better version of yourself when you come back.
Because it gives you time, like the 4 reasons that he gives. Number 1, deeper self-consciousness. Number 2, deeper eco-consciousness. Sounds fruity. I'll talk about that later. Number 3, deeper creativity. Number 4, a deeper sense of freedom. So you get in that first one, deeper self-consciousness. It gives you time to account for the turmoil within. Like if you don't allow time for that, you're never going to deal with it. Like there's all, I intended to be this kind of a person. If you're by yourself thinking for any amount of time, you kind of think, am I the person that I wanted to be? And what do I have to do to change to become that person? Or what do I need to do differently? Or what should I do more of? What should I stop doing? Those kinds of things. If you never just take a break and go through those things, you're never going to fix them. They don't just automatically fix themselves. You don't automatically correct course with some of the things you've been doing in your life. You got to think through it. You get into the eco-consciousness. This is pretty interesting, and I'm not a huge Nietzsche fan, but one of his quotes is used here in the article. Modern man has lost and destroyed his instinct and can no longer trust the, quote, divine animal and let go of the reins when his understanding falters and his way leads through deserts. And I think if we want to go back to your last week's What's on Your Mind, a lot of I want to elect somebody that makes all these tough choices for me, that agrees with me,
right,
is because we're giving up our ability to be, our own masters as far as a divine animal. Like use our instincts as a man that's been given talents
as
and
a
gifts.
sovereign human, as a sovereign being.
Yeah, and make conscious decisions. Like I think we typically want to float unconsciously through there. And the eco-consciousness that he gets into is just that, is that like we're part of an overall environment that exists, and we play a huge role in it as a man, as mankind. And then we think about that all the time, and not that I'm advocating for all this, but you look at climate change and environmentalists and all of, water conservation is something I'm pretty hip to. Leaving a place better than it was when you found it. Every time I go out and hunt on public land, I end up taking a lot of trash out of there because I'm tired of people just rutting up the place and treating it like a dumpster. We're part of a bigger picture, right? The world doesn't revolve around us. If you get out there and you have some solitude in the wilderness by yourself, you realize that there's more things that are going on than just you. And then you get into the deeper creativity that's there. It allows for creativity. If you're not making time for it, I know you talked about your business, Troy. You actually had to schedule time to think about ways that you could grow your business as opposed to just doing your business, whatever your clients want. You got to set time aside, schedule it to say, I'm going to focus on thinking of new ways to do something. I'm not just going to show up and do the same thing I've always done, making room for that creativity. For that solitude.
There's a lot of professors that get paid really good money to sit there at a board and think.
Yeah. In our business group that I'm in, we do a lot of deep thinking, internal thinking, to where we have to bring stuff to the table for our next meetings, like, thinking about business, but a lot of it is thinking about yourself and where you want your business to go, and does that align with who you are, what you want, what your primary focus and primary aim is going to be in your life, right?
And are you going to be able to do that if you don't spend time alone?
No, absolutely not.
And that creativity part, that's when I get out and I'm by myself at my hunting cabin. That's where I can do my best writing, because everything else just kind of goes away and I can solely just concentrate on writing.
Yeah.
So I get that. I agree with that.
And then the fourth and final one, a deeper sense of freedom. And this is Carl Jung, and I'm, again, don't agree with everything that he says, but a quote that is used here in the article: too much of the animal distorts the civilized man, but too much civilization makes sick animals. So it kind of gets into the balance of if you're not out there feeding yourself as an individual with this time, then you're basically going to be imprisoned in the rat race, right? And I'll tell you, some of the solitude that was forced on everybody through COVID really had people evaluate during the lockdowns. Am I actually doing what I want to do with my life right now? And then you look at when things started bouncing back, there's a lot of people that are like, I'm doing something different.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah. I'm going to go find something else, and I would argue that it was the solitude that allowed for that freedom to think, I don't have to go to work in this job every day the rest of my life. I could do something different, and I'm going to take that risk. So anyway, that's just what's been on my mind is, just asking myself, why do I get so excited? And there's all other kind of, answers to that question too. I love being able to provide good, clean food that I know exactly where it came from. That's another reason I like to hunt. I love the camaraderie, especially that's one of the things that duck hunting gives you is you typically do that in a group. But so there's a lot of things to get excited about fall and the cool weather, but I really, the deer stand, sitting up in a deer stand and quietness, waiting to hear a limb crack, allows your mind to churn. And I don't have a plethora of deer that are in a high fence area like Matt's property where they come around and he rings a bell. He rings a bell and they come up, at 4:30 in the afternoon. I don't have that situation. So I'm there
7:30 in the morning and 3:45 in the afternoon. You can put it on the clock.
That's not how it is for me. So I get to sit in my deer stand for hours waiting for that right moment. But I think I still
do that as well.
One of the things that I get excited about in hunting season is I get that solitude back in my life, even though it typically only happens during this time of year. That's one of the reasons I get really excited about this time of year.
Nice. I like it.
I think I get excited about it more because, like I said, because that weather's nicer and I enjoy being out there a little bit more, but I mean, I'll get out there because I go out there throughout the year to constantly work on it, and I'll be there for a day, or overnight by myself, whatever, getting on the tractor and just kind of zoning out and doing what needs to be done and, put on some music and just get into thought. And it's been some of our good words before where, Jesus even took that time and it was very important for him, as well. And not just getting, psyching himself up, but, getting with the Lord as well.
Yeah. And he either did that immediately before a big ministry event or right immediately after. Yeah.
To recharge himself.
Yep.
Or himself. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for good word, Chet. We'll be back with our top 3 tools every household should have.
It was a good word, but it was still what's on my mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a good word.
Yeah, it was. You're not wrong.
Multiple good words this evening.
Troy will provide the next one.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to steer this ship. We'll be back. At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave. All right, we're back with our top 3. And top 3 today, tools every household should have. Troy, what are your top 3 tools that you think every household should have?
I think number 3, every household should have a vacuum.
That's not a tool.
That's an appliance.
Uh-huh.
It is a tool that I use to clean up my
You're a tool.
kids' mess every day.
I'm not a fan of your interpretation of tools. I'm going to see what number 2 is.
Like 2 weeks ago, you came at us with one of the strongest top 3s you've ever had, and now you start off with one of the weakest.
It's one of the strongest top 3s we've ever had.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right.
I can't win them every time.
Number 2, obviously.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
A mini screwdriver set.
Like for eyeglasses, that many?
For eyeglasses, kids' toys.
Oh, okay.
Better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting there.
That's
Yeah.
actually something you can find in the tool section of a hardware store.
I guess you could find a shop vac in the tool section, but it's down at the end.
Although, if I were to ask somebody where their screwdrivers are, I wouldn't ask where the mini screwdrivers are. I just ask for screwdrivers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're in the same section.
Yeah. They're
No,
like,
they're not, because I would ask my wife, "Hey, you got that little mini screwdriver in your purse?"
yeah.
Because that's where she carries.
You drove up here in the minivan. Yeah.
All right, number 1. Can't get any worse.
You want to? I wrote down 6 top 3. So you want to use one of mine?
No, I just here's
a fork.
Here's
Yes. A blender.
Oh, but
blender.
it's a blender.
It's a tool to
man.
crush things. Yeah.
Dishwasher.
Every time the power goes out, I look for this, and it's a battery powered lantern or a flashlight.
Okay. Yeah. Not really a tool unless you're going to club somebody over the head with it.
Hey, I
Self-defense.
could. In all honesty, I gave up tools years ago after the 4th house my wife wanted to remodel, and she took over the tools of the house when I told her I was done remodeling. So I don't use tools.
Okay.
I'm done with tools.
So how are you going to put up this matting for soundproofing in your studio? How are you going to put the sheetrock on the walls?
Well, I'm just going to hang some stuff on the walls.
How are you going to do that? With what?
They have tape on the back. You just stick it on
Oh,
the wall.
well, very well. Touche, sir.
Yeah, command strips.
Won't catch me swinging a hammer. All
Not
right,
a-
who's next?
Chet, why don't you go?
It's all uphill from now.
Okay. I guess I'm going to have to move these into honorable mention. I figured there'd be a lot of the same ones. I was wrong.
You were, yeah, you were wrong, but we may have some that overlap.
Number 3, if we do, then I'll just throw out the other one that I wrote down.
And I'll throw okay.
Okay. Tape measure.
Yep.
That is very frequently used for a multitude of different reasons in my house. Like, at least once a week, I'm measuring something. You all right?
I took a bite of that ruffle, and
Yeah.
I got this instant, smell of perfume.
I don't know what it's WNBA, man.
I know. It's so weird. Smelling the bag. Sorry. Continue.
So tape measure.
Funky butt loving.
Number 2, a level.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never going to use one of those ever again.
Not even for your pictures that you're hanging, even if they're got stickers on the back.
Just eye it.
Man, I tell you what, I just don't know.
Giving up tools.
And number 1, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I'm assuming you'd have this on there, maybe not. Cordless drill. Like,
I actually do not have that one. Go ahead, but
I'll tell you what I've done, and this is based off of your advice. 100% is, well, I already had a cordless drill, and I got a DeWalt, which was just, it's a Black & Decker, by the way. DeWalt is the Black & Decker's industrial name. But good. It's got the lithium battery. I used to have a Craftsman that was, weighed like 17 pounds, and the battery was as big as a watermelon. And so when the lithium stuff came out, I finally broke down and got one a couple years ago. But then, based on your advice on their air pump, the DeWalt,
that cordless
battery powered, and it uses the same batteries.
Yep.
I went and got one of those. I can't tell
those
you,
things are freaking
dude,
nice.
it's unbelievable. And I wouldn't have it unless I had the cordless drill to begin with, because the air compressors really, it's like $90 if you buy it without the batteries. Well, I already have the batteries with the cordless drill, so it wasn't that much of an extra deal. Dude, pumped up tires. You set the PSI you want it to, and you hit play, and that thing just it'll bike tires,
they're really
car
nice.
tires, inflatable. Your pool float things, whatever you want to do, man. That joker will
Soccer
do it.
ball, football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need one of those.
Yeah,
I'd probably give it to my wife for a birthday present or Christmas present.
Now you're on to something.
She would love it.
All right.
They're super handy,
As long as I don't have to use it.
and they will air up a car tire like nobody's business.
Yeah. Yep. That's my 3.
All right. So what was that top number 1 again?
The cordless drill.
Cordless drill.
That does air pressure stuff.
Yeah. No. I have the DeWalt cordless drill, and it comes with the batteries.
And you use your
Matt was
batteries
like, dude,
on
this
the-
DeWalt little air compressor that runs off of the cordless drill batteries is
Gotcha.
awesome.
All right.
And so if I hadn't have done the cordless drill, then I wouldn't even be in the market to get that thing. And Matt gives good advice every now and then that I follow, and I let him know when I follow it. So he keeps
This is the
giving me
first
that
I'm
good
hearing
advice.
about it. This is a hard-headed first.
That's going to be Hannah's Christmas gift, and she doesn't listen to this, so we're good.
Golden.
All right.
All right, number 3, and I almost overlapped with you. You said cordless drill.
Yeah.
I said a screwdriver set.
Dude. Look right here. Look at my other number 3. Screwdriver set.
I had
Word for
screwdriver
word.
set on mine.
No, you had mini.
You had many screwdrivers. So this is for like serious work. You've got an outlet. You're not. That little mini screwdriver set ain't going to turn the knob. Turn the screw on that outlet. But the reason I picked that is because not everybody has a use for a cordless drill.
Yep, that's true.
So
that's true.
and you can put it. It makes things a lot easier, but you can still screw that
Yep.
screw into the
You
wall.
get a
if
lot
need to
done.
hang
You could
something.
even do some minor car repairs. Change
Yep.
bulbs and some taillights and whatnot.
You need to start an old car. You just on a
Yeah.
solenoid and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need
So-
to scrape some poop off your bottom of your shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Little flathead.
Yep. Now my number 2, we did overlap. I had tape measure.
Okay.
That might take a while with a mini.
So number 2, I'm going to go ahead and switch.
Depends on the size of the dog.
Oh, I got a little dog now. It probably wouldn't take that long.
All right, switch it up.
Mini screwdriver work for that. Mini screwdriver, mini turds.
Yep.
So instead of the tape measure, my backup was a set of Allen wrenches.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, they come in the little yellow thing that holds all the different sizes, and you can go metric or whatever. But those are always handy because those are the ones that you always need that you don't have.
Yep.
You're always looking for them. And
Or if you just buy a bunch of stuff from IKEA, you have a whole bunch of little ones floating around from the.
That are never
Yep.
the right size
Yep.
for what you need at the time.
And then now that you've got your screwdriver, you can make things really fast and hold the screw on one side,
Oh, yeah.
hold the bolt on one side and use that Allen on the other, because now everybody uses Allen wrenches or some sort of funky screw setup so stuff doesn't get stolen.
Yep.
And number 1, this one doesn't overlap, would be a set of wrenches
Mm-hmm.
for that opposes for the bolts for the screwdriver or for the Allen set. Because Chet already said tape measure. I would have to have a tape measure. And level was a good call because I do use a level quite a bit for almost if I'm hanging anything or building anything.
Yeah, you're making some calculations on your angles on certain items.
I mean, I got a framing square for some of that.
And
I got
is that the speed square?
So I got a speed square and
Yeah.
the framing square, and you can do a lot with both.
2 speed squares, and then I've got a framing square, and then I have a
T-square.
drafting T square. Yeah,
Yep.
massive.
I got a T-square, big old blue one.
The
My wife has all that stuff.
a couple honorable mentions here: hammer,
Hammer.
and so the screwdriver set. And a small hammer, not even the 16 ounce, like a small one, 8 ounce,
Like a tack hammer.
Yeah, that should be in your junk drawer. You should have a junk drawer in your kitchen or
with
whatever.
tacks.
Yes, you should have some brads. You should have some tacks. You should have your little bitty hammer in there, mini screwdriver set with your mini hammer.
And a mini flashlight.
I'm not kidding. Like your mini screwdriver should be in the junk drawer, not in your toolbox somewhere. You can throw some regular size screwdrivers in there too.
I've got a mini screwdriver set.
Another
It's in my closet because it's too big for the junk drawer.
Another thing that I use in
It's a small junk drawer.
So I have a circular saw skill. Was the skill saw is what I grew up calling it. But sometimes I just got to cut one thing. Oh, the old hand saw. I've got 2 of those, and I use them quite frequently. If I need just to make one cut on one board, Like, I'm not using electricity for this. You know, I typically go out and put my tailgate down, you know, and then start sawing out there. And then when people are walking by my neighborhood, I just look at them like, I bet you don't even have a handsaw. You know,
they're judging you.
Yeah.
It was so
no,
fun.
I'm judging them. What are you talking about?
Well, they're judging you. They're like, why is he not using a power saw?
Because I have muscles.
See, for me,
Like,
I've got
what's wrong with this old guy?
I've got the handsaw, and
Yeah.
it was so funny because I have a cordless skill saw, circular saw,
Yeah.
and I've also got a corded one. The corded one,
I only have a quarter one. It's got a laser on that joker. It draws the line. It's awesome.
on a handsaw.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I was cutting some 4x8 sheets of plywood the other night.
Oh, it shoots a laser out the front.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, you know exactly where you're going. Like out 4 feet. You can put a mark at the other end of the sheet of plywood and just hold that laser on that joker. I love it. Anyway, go ahead. You had your
What brand is
battery
that?
powered. Ryobi.
Ryobi. See, my cordless circular saw, I've got a Ryobi that is got that old battery pack like you were talking about that
Yeah.
weighs, a ton. And I've actually bought new batteries for it and it's still running. And so I had that out, and then I've got my big framing saw,
Mhm.
that I use for big cuts and stuff like that. But we had some pallets that we had for a fire pit, and we needed to cut them down. And I was like, I'm not going to get that stupid thing out. I was like, Clara, get out here and cut these down with the handsaw,
Yeah.
and then she's out there just sawing away. And then my in-laws came out and was like, well, why don't you go get that circular saw? And I was like, she don't need no circular
Right.
saw. She's got those muscles. It'll be fine. She can work a little bit, but she got about 3/4 of the way through, and I could tell she was getting a little beat up. And I was
Yep.
like, all right, we'll go get the saw. Here's,
Zip, zip, zip.
yeah, cut those down.
That's awesome. And then whenever you get that handsaw out, you go, every time you got to do it.
Yep. It's
Gotta do
almost like checking the straps. Like, yep,
Yep.
that's not going
Yep.
anywhere.
It's required.
I did use some straps yesterday.
Yeah, well, yeah, good.
Had to fasten some stuff down.
Yeah.
To
Is
what?
that a tool?
No.
What? I mean,
Oh, well.
what were you strapping down?
An ice chest to a
Oh, those luggage rack deals?
luggage rack.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Did you flip it and go, that's not going anywhere?
When you
When
ding, 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 what note
yeah.
did it play? You're like, oh yeah, that's an
Yeah.
E.
Yeah, you have to do that like every time.
Got to get to the C, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good word, Troy.
Yeah. So the good word comes out of Mark 11:15 through 17. And the word is the just. So this is Jesus entering the temple with a whip of cords. He began to drive out those who sold and those who bought in the temple, and he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. And he was teaching them and saying to them, is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations, but you have made it a den of robbers. So this is like one of my favorite passages of scripture, because it just shows Jesus's other side, right? His more angry side, right? Because a lot of people, this talks about how society wants you to think that Jesus was just a teacher of nice things. He did good things. He may have performed some miracles and done some cool things. But this really shows that you can have some righteous anger, right? And so one thing I love about it is because it says that he fastened a whip of cords, right? And to do that, you have to have time to think about something.
Because it's biblically taught that you should be slow to anger.
Yeah.
Like not quick tempered.
Not quick. So I've always just pictured him like fastening it, just like thinking about what he's about to do, and
So not
and
like,
controlling his anger.
Not like your mom just grabbing a switch off of a bush and ripping the leaves off real fast. Not like that.
Or dad like unbuckling the belt and whipping it out. Yeah. No, not like that. He had ample time to think about what he was going to be doing. So then the rest of this talks about how, there needs to be justice, right? Because only a fool would advocate for a system that doesn't have any justice. And sometimes justice can seem like it's not very loving, but if it's done in the right way, then in the end it is very loving. And we talked about the 2 commandments last week: love God first and love your neighbor. How can you not love your neighbor and not have justice with them?
Yeah, because I mean, what those people were doing, because you had sacrifices that you needed to make in the temple,
right? And they had pigeons and
so people just didn't have all their own animals, not everybody, so they would actually go and buy their sacrifice in the courts, and it's a captive market, right? There's very little competition, and people are going to have to buy your product to follow their religion in this case. So it's like, I could charge whatever I want to charge. They have to make a sacrifice. So I'm going to make a killing here. And they were robbing the people. They weren't being fair to them. I mean, they were taking advantage of, and the people that are, buying pigeons and not bringing their calves, right? They're poor people.
right.
And they were getting taken advantage of at the church, because all they were trying to do is do what what they were scriptures had taught them to do under the sacrificial system.
Yeah. Yeah. And 2 Corinthians 5:10 says, For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. And so Jesus is love, and he's also just. He created the world, and he rules over it. And we will all be accountable to him. So,
what are the modern day money changers? Well, I mean, not that we would know for sure, but I mean, if we were going to speculate, who's taking money from people that don't have it?
Get this holy spring water to get your miracle.
Yeah. I would say the Joel.
And when I'm done, I'm going to go fly on my private jet to my mansion.
Because Jesus told me I needed this, and I can't talk to him on a tube, a metal tube of demons. So I've got my own private jet, so I can
That's
be
Kenneth Copeland.
at 50,000 feet. I'm close to the Lord, and we can talk. And
the Joel Osteen
coronavirus
of the world.
Yeah.
I blow
COVID-19.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude's a nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looked upon fondly by God.
No. Let God be your justice.
Yeah, don't go James Reese on people.
Yeah. That's true.
or the gray man,
Yeah.
So
be slow.
this is funny. I had my dad built me a 2-story, me and my sister, a 2-story tree house when we were young. And what gave him the idea is there's an old dump, like there's just a road out in the country, and that's where people just dumped a bunch of junk that wouldn't burn. So old washing machines and old whatever. And my dad, we just drive down through there, and we'd plink, target shoot. There's bottles all over the place, cans and whatever else, and that was just a little fun thing to do. And we were driving through. I'm I don't know, 10, 11, somewhere around there. And there's just like this pile of used lumber. It was painted maroon. I'll never forget. Like what, he's like, ooh. And he got to looking through it and was like, oh, this is a lot of good stuff here. Next thing you know, we're loading that stuff up and then haul it back to the house. Then he goes to the lumber store, buys a few more things because it wasn't the whole deal. And then had enough, and he built his 2 stories. It's huge. And one of our huge pine trees ran right through the middle of it. He built it around it. But anyway, on the on one of the boards that we got from the dump, somebody had carved in there, kill them all and let God sort them out. And like it ended up in a place where I could read it. He's like, hey, just ignore that right there, because it's all like carved in it. And we didn't have enough wood to go all the way around. He had to use that piece, It's kind of funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Don't do that. We're not advocating.
No, don't do that.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.